They would try to whip people that they encountered with the flayed skin of the goats.
Alright, so my first question is, how did Valentine's Day start?
I think a much more likely explanation that scholars have talked about is that it actually is a Christian attempt to, in fact, Christianize an old pagan holiday that had begun centuries earlier called the Lupercalia. Basically what happened was priests would sacrifice a dog and a goat, maybe several goats, and they would skin these goats, flay them, and they would take the skin of the goats, which often had blood on them, and they would wrap these around the loins of young men or older boys, and they would run around in this near naked condition around the base of the Palatine Hill. And as they ran, they would try to whip people that they encountered with the flayed skin of the goats. And people were not trying to avoid them. In fact, people eagerly sought the chance to be whipped by these boys because it was thought to be a great omen of good luck.
Who do you believe started the original Roman traditions of Valentine's Day?
No one knows for sure. There are actually three Saint Valentines known in the Catholic Church today. And which one of these is the Saint Valentine we associate with the festival of February 14th? No one knows for sure.
So how did Saint Valentine get involved in Valentine's Day?
One tradition is that he was a priest who was marrying young soldiers and young women at a time when the emperor, who was Claudius II, forbade marriage by his young soldiers, thinking that unmarried soldiers would be more effective than married soldiers. And he learned that Valentinus was marrying these soldiers in secret to their lovers. And so to put a stop to it, he arrested and then executed this priest.
Even though Valentine's Day had such strange origins, how do you believe it became so romanticized in the modern era?
In the late medieval period, I mentioned the point about these birds, perhaps mating, choosing mates around the middle of February, and in the old Lupercalia, the Roman festival, there were connections about young men meeting young women at this time and entering into romantic relationships. So the romantic connection really has some origins in the very beginning of the story, but they really become pronounced in the late medieval period, I'd say by the 15th century and later.